Now, let's talk about adding background video to your project. And what we should talk about first is the value added to the user experience by using background video. True, you can get some really cool effects, but you have to keep in mind the bandwidth concerns. Now, this is especially true in the mobile interface. So, if background video really adds an aesthetic, if the background video adds a value to the user experience, and the amount of bandwidth or any potential in latency in delivering your content, if that's minimal, then go ahead, go for it. Use background video because, again, you can get some really cool effects. Okay? Just make sure you're thinking about your user, you're thinking about the user experience and the value that is added with your background video. All right, being said, let's go ahead and we'll go to our code. And again, I already have the code written, and of course you will have access to the code pen, so you can always go to the pen and get or take a look at the code. All right, so we're going to start off just by adding our element, which is going to hold our background video. Okay, and in this particular case, our background video is going to go at the top of our container, behind our header and behind our graphic, which holds the lyrics. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to add the background video right here, right when the container opens, and this will come before the header. Okay, so the header should go on top even without using a z-index. All right, so let's go ahead and paste in and talk about what we have here. So we're just creating a div. We're using a class, calling the class background space video. Then you'll notice I have commented out a event and a function which I will use later in a demo on how to create a simple JavaScript toggle to stop and play the video. Just in case maybe you don't want the video playing right from the start. Maybe you do, but you want to give the user the option of toggling the video on and off. It's always good to give the user options. Now, we're calling the video element next. And then I have ID background space video. This is going to be used when we add the JavaScript later. I have this video set to autoplay, muted, and loop. All right, so autoplay is fine on a video, not such a good idea on an audio file. Now, if your video has audio, really think about autoplay, okay? Or at least if it's autoplay, set muted, and that the user decide when they want to enable the audio. Okay, I should also point out that autoplay is disabled, I believe, in the mobile. So if you have a mobile environment, your video, I believe, will not autoplay, but you might want to check that. Okay, then I also in a comment include the more typical settings for your audio. All right, next we have our source, and I'm going to point out that I'm using an MP4. I tend to prefer MP4s as my format. There are other formats for video you can use, but I believe the others are not supported in all the current browsers, while MP4 is. Okay. All right, so we have added our background video. So let's go ahead and save. And what we're going to do next is let's go ahead and add our rule. And we will first add the rule which will style the video itself. And we're going to place this in our CSS right when the container opens. So right here. All right, so we're targeting background space video. I'm going to set the position to absolute. This way I can set the top and the left to 0, and I'll know exactly where this element is going. Plus, being that it's positioned absolute, this element is out of the flow of the document, which should continue to allow elements like the header and the main content area to not be affected by this element. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set our width, our height, and z-index. I'm just to be on the safe side, I'll set the z-index to -1 to make sure this element goes into the background. I'm setting the element at 0.2, so it's not so so the opacity is more subtle, so it's not so visually in your face. And then we're going to set the overflow to hidden to make sure that our video stays inside of our established content area. So just so you can see how bold this will be, let's set our opacity to 1.0, and then we'll set it back to 2 in a moment here. So let's go ahead and update. And there is our video. Okay. And then you're going to notice this hard line right across here. Okay, so we're going to address this next, okay, because this hard edge is just doesn't look good visually. All right, so let's go back to our code, and what we'll do is we will next target the video element. So let's go ahead and copy, and underneath our video we will paste, and I'm going to go ahead and set my opacity back to 0.2 like so, and then you'll notice the video element. So we're targeting the video element inside the background space video element. So this is the actual video, and I'm going to set the width to 120. It's very common you set the width to 100% or maybe less, but in this case I want the video to be larger. Okay, because I'm setting the height to auto, then the height of the element should grow accordingly. So let's go ahead and save, and let's refresh. Let's get rid of this, and now let's take a look, and you'll see that our video is filling the background area, which I want nicely, but this right here is problematic. We're going to talk about fixing this edge next.